ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So today we are going to start with the 8th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. In the last class, being the long weekend, many of you were not here. I will just shortly recapitulate what we were discussing, because that discussion is something very, very important to understand Bhagavad Gita as a whole. Sometimes what we do when we study, we generally pick up one of the verses, one of the slokas, study it, and we interpret it to have certain meaning. But sometimes that meaning we will find is not making any sense when we try to correlate it with the succeeding mantras. So that's why when studying the scripture, this is very important. That not to pick up certain verses and just try to find out the meaning of it and think it to be the be-all and the end-all, the essence of that scripture. Maybe some other hidden meanings are there for which we have to study between the lines, and it should be connected. That's why you will find many of our scriptures, whenever they write a comprehensive philosophy, they're all in the form of sutras. They say just like Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Naradiya Bhakti Sutra, Vedanta Sutra. So what the sutra means, in Sanskrit, sutra means thread. That all these ideas has to be connected through a thread so that you can get a all comprehensive meaning out of it. So when we are in the juncture of the 7th and the 8th chapter while studying Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, we should keep in mind that these two chapters are very important, because it will be giving us the overall picture of Bhagavad Gita. The 7th chapter, the 8th chapter, and still later the 15th chapter. These three chapters give the paradigm. The 7th chapter, which we have already studied, the 8th chapter, which we are going to study, and of course 15th chapter still some time is there. As we go through the other chapters to the 15th chapter, we will be studying there the Purushottama Yoga. So these three chapters are the three paradigms, the three orientations, which helps us to understand the all-comprehensive view of Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, we will be just making an interpretation which is partial, which is one-sided. In the words of Ramakrishna, aghe. So, to understand this, that let us try to understand that what makes Bhagavad Gita so unique. That you find even in Hinduism there are so many denominations, Vaishnavas, Shaktas, Ganapatyas. There are so many divisions. But this is the scripture that everyone accepts as the core philosophy of any branch, of any philosophy. Whether it is Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, Advaita, the Bhagavad Gita is the core scripture. So what makes it so unique? So now to understand this, as we were studying in the last class, this also we will discuss, there's the integral approach of the Bhagavad Gita by the way with which it views the reality. Now what is the reality? So you will find that any philosophy, when they are speaking of the reality, the what's real, so they take into account three things. That for any of us, even for a common person, What are the three things? The world which I see outside, the Jagat. And we all believe in our existence, that I am an individual being. I am here and the world is outside there. So this all, like me, you're also an individual being. There are so many beings in this world. Each and every being is called Jiva. The one who is born, Jayate, is Jiva. So this Jiva, this Jagat. And in this world we find everything has a cause. Everything has a cause. That this table, it has a cause. That I know that there was a tree, that the tree has fallen or it was cut from the wood. This table has been made. There's a carpenter who has made it. So everything has a cause. Nothing is there just by itself. So here I am, this world is, there must be a cause. So that cause, that higher cause which has resulted in this, there will be various interpretations of that, but that is nomenclatured as Ishvara. So Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. This constitutes our reality. So now in Advaita, many will be interpreting Bhagavad Gita as a scripture which is interpreting the Advaita philosophy. So here we have to be very, very cautious. In Advaita Vedanta, what happens? You will find that the Jiva and the Jagat is considered as illusory. It's ultimately not real. That the idea that I am the individual, this is illusory. Actually everything is Brahman. Ishvara is being termed as Brahman there. So from the Brahman, this my ego is something superimposed, it has been projected. And the Jagat also is a superimposition of Brahman. So only Ishvara is real, Jiva and Jagat is illusory. So that's what we were studying in details in the last class. So just we are making a very comprehensive just a conclusion of what we have studied, that in Advaita Vedanta, the Brahman, Ishvara, who is nomenclatured as the Brahman, the ultimate cause. The word Brahman came from Brih Dhatu, Brihat, that which is Brihat. That whenever I think of myself, I think I am this limited individuality. The scriptures are there to say us, even those who have gone to that realization, they also say us, this amness, which at present is witnessing just this body-mind complex, is actually not localized. This amness is something which pervades the entire universe. That amness, which is aware of itself, that is Sat Swarup, it is eternal, that is Chit Swarup, it is not something inert, it is the awareness, which is aware of its own existence. And that again is Ananda Swarupa. Nothing is there to hinder its sense of fulfillment, hinder its eternity. Nothing is there. It alone exists on its own right, and this Advaita Vedanta says that alone is real. Everything is superimposed. Just the way when we are dreaming, in the dream, I see myself as well as the world. So this Jiva and Jagat is just like the dream. It has as such no eternal existence. In this context, we find Bhagavad Gita is very interesting. In the 7th chapter, we already studied that Bhagavan is saying, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, what he is saying? That this world and even our body, even our mind, all this constitutes apara prakriti, the lower nature. And the idea, the one who is sitting inside as the eternal witness, this is the beauty of the Eastern philosophy. In Western philosophy, we will find that the Atman the self has been identified with the mind. But in Vedanta, they say that what is going on in your mind, are you not aware of it? The way I am aware of this external world, in the same way, I am aware of all my thoughts, my feelings, my perceptions. So Vedanta has distinguished that awareness as something separate, who is the eternal witness, who is witnessing your thoughts, witnessing your feelings, witnessing your emotions, that pure awareness. That's the idea of the self in Vedanta, that it is something beyond the mind, witnessing the mind. So in Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th chapter, we have studied that pure awareness is the para prakriti, and this all the mind and the senses and the external world, these are the lower, this apara, and that's the para is the one. Para means the supreme, is the individual self within each and every one of us. And then Bhagavan said very interesting thing, that you need not think that to be something which is non-existent. It also has been projected from me. Even in a dream, the dream as such is unreal, I understand, but as long as I am dreaming, it has a reality. Why the dream has happened, I don't know, that is an ignorance. But as long as I am dreaming, I cannot deny it. Why I cannot deny it? You will find those who have nightmare, they go to the doctor. They go to the doctor and they need to be treated, because that dream is not real, but that dream causes suffering. So I have to deal with it. So Bhagavad Gita, instead of saying that we just simply deny it, we have to deal with it. So Bhagavan is saying that why he has become the world, that is ignorance. That I also don't know, you also don't know. And it is a very, very unreasonable question to ask, that how the creation happened. Why it is unreasonable? Just the way within the dream you can never ask how the dream has started, when it has started. This question has no meaning. Only when the dream breaks, then I know, oh, I was dreaming. Similarly, the scripture says that when you go beyond the ignorance, then you know, this was the dream. Not before that. So I have to deal with it. So in Bhagavad Gita, they say, nothing you have to just simply reject. They have been projected by me, and as a projection, the thing which I am seeing, as such, they have no substantial reality. But as God, they are real. It is a God who has been projected as Jiva and Ishvara. And that's the idea. In the 7th chapter, when we are studying, we found that Bhagavan is saying, it is me who, like a thread, is passing through the entire creation, integrating it. And he gives the example of a necklace, that I am the golden thread which is passing through all the beads in the necklace. The para, the apara, prakriti, everything is integrated in me. If you remember that we studied this in the 7th chapter. That matta, this paratarang nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidang protan sutre manigana iva sutre. In the golden thread, sutra, manigana, all the beads, all the pearls, the way they're this beaded together, they're all connected together with a thread to form a wonderful necklace. So I am that thread which is passing through all this entire creation. So nothing has to be rejected. So this is the idea we found in the 7th chapter, where we find this Bhagavad Gita is taking an integral approach. That you need not have to close your eyes in search of God. You open your eyes, whatever you're looking at is God. So as Swamiji used to say, don't close your eyes and seek. Open your eyes and see. Because whatever you're seeing is God, and God himself is being projected. This universe is projected, is nothing but the God alone who is being projected as the universe. As the Isha Upanishad starts with that mantra, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. That pervade the entire existence with the Lord and the Lord alone. Now how to pervade it? So for that, Bhagavad Gita is showing 3 paradigms. The para prakriti, the apara prakriti, the higher nature, the lower nature. As we told, the mind also is a part of the nature. This all has to be strung together by the Lord who is permeating the entire creation, just like a thread passing through all the beads of a necklace. And now, in the last 2 verses of the 7th chapter, we find he is using certain terms. These terms will be explained in a more detailed way in the 8th chapter. So those two verses which we took up in the last class, we are not taking it today again, where we find that the same idea, that this world is an integral whole of the Lord. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, that you have to weigh a fruit. You just take the pulp and just throw away the seeds, the peel, and peel it off from the coverings. You can never get the entire weight, just thinking that the pulp alone is real. No. The entire fruit, everything has to be taken together. In his words, that if you just remove the seeds and the covering, ojone kam porbe, its weight will be less. It won't be speaking of the entire reality. So take the integral reality. Why? This is very important. Why? See, most of us, we take spirituality as a way of escape. Most of us. That I am fed up with life, enough of it, I have to have a retreat. Spiritual life means a retreat. I will close my eyes, contemplate on the divine. But how long can you do? I can sit at least for 1 hour, 2 hours. And then I have to come back. Even in the Bhagavad Gita we find, even to maintain our body, even a sadhu has to go, that who has nothing to do with the world, with his begging bowl, he has to walk kilometers after kilometers just to sustain his body. Can you stay without action? Impossible. So then what happens? Our spiritual life becomes bifurcated, partitioned. There's an airtight compartment between spiritual and secular. That these are the things, my worship, I meditate, I do some ritualistic worship. This is my spiritual life, and the rest all is just secular life. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, a very interesting thing, that our religion, our spirituality is just up till the breakfast. Why? In the morning I wake up, the first thing I do, being a religious person, have my morning ablutions. Some will take the shower. And after that, he will have a special set of clothes. He will wear that. He goes to the corner of his house. There is a shrine, small shrine, has a small altar. He or she sits there, performs some rituals, shows some incense, offers some flower, sits with the folded hands, prays, meditates. Feels very elevated. Comes out of his shrine. Now it's time to go for the office. He changes his dress, sits on the dining table to have the breakfast, and now he has a feeling. Now I have to deal with the world. My spirituality is now over. There's a watertight compartment. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is saying. Our religion is still breakfast. But that need not be if we take the integral view of the Bhagavad Gita. That was worship. In front of the shrine, I was trying to relate to my the object of worship. I was trying to commune with it. Now when I'm interacting with the world, it is not something apart from God. It's the God who is manifesting as the world. Sri Ramakrishna used to say a very interesting thing. Just see the paradox that we feel so much of devotion when I am sitting in front of my deity, whatever it may be. I can relate to that deity as if it is a living presence, though it may be something, just an object like an wood or some stone, but I feel the living presence there. But see the paradox, when I am living, when I am just interacting with the world. You know, in our worship, in the Hindu way of worship, when you are worshipping an idol, the worshipper never feels it's just an inert thing. What it feels? That it is very difficult to relate to the abstract. So they do something called prana pratishtha, that I will enliven it. How? There's a way of contemplation that imagine that from my heart, my deity is sitting in my heart, the living deity. I bring him out and install him on this idol. Now it has become enlivened. And they ask for forgiveness, that I know that you are something consciousness. But for me to focus on that abstract is so difficult. So I am imposing you on this, And then I feel it is something lively. No worshipper feels it's a stone. He feels it's a living presence. And he is trying to relate. It's good. But Sri Ramakrishna is saying, now when you move out in the world, there is no need for prana pratishtha. I see all the living beings moving around. Prana is there. It is full of life. But I cannot see the deity there. Isn't it a big paradox? So that's why Sri Ramakrishna is saying that when you come out of your asana, your meditation shouldn't end only when you're sitting in the asana. When you're relating to the world, if I can feel that everything is divine, then my each and every act becomes worship. I never get disconnected from my source. So this is very important. And that's why in the 7th chapter we found that Bhagavan told that para prakriti, apara prakriti, the lower nature, the higher nature, everything is me. They're all strung together like the beads of a necklace by the golden thread which I am. In the 8th chapter, he will elaborate in a more detailed way. How the detailed way? So now just think that when you wake up, I will just, these terms, let us try to understand that there will be some terms which will be coming. What are the terms? In the 8th chapter, the Brahman, Adhyatma, Adhidaiva, Adhiyagya, Adhibhuta, Karma. So many will be struggling with this, what actually it means. Though it has been explained in the Bhagavad Gita, but what actually it means. That first comes Brahman. That we were saying, that there's awareness which is all pervading. Do we ever experience that? Yes, we experience that. In what way? Just the moment when you wake up, you are aware of your amness, but that amness is something beyond time, space, causation. You will say, how? Is it so? You will understand. So suppose on the weekend, now it's a long weekend, so after lunch, you have a heavy meal, because after all today it's not a working day. You have a quite sumptuous meal, and then you feel a bit drowsy. It's quite natural. And then you have a nice nap, as it's a holiday for you, no work. And you will find many times it happens. If you have a very nice nap, the moment you wake up, sometimes it so happens that I will just stand in front of the mirror, take my toothbrush, put the toothpaste and start brushing my teeth. Why it has happened? That I have the habit of brushing my teeth early in the morning. In the afternoon after the nap, that is not the usual time for brushing my teeth. But just when I woke up, my amness is something beyond time, space, causation. I'm aware that I am, but I'm not aware of the time. Because of the habit that in the morning when I wake up, I just brush my teeth, I feel as if it's the morning time. It happens. I may take out the brush and start, and then suddenly I realize, oh, it's actually afternoon. I had a nice nap. So you are not aware of the time, even space. You will find. I give the example. Suppose your bed is placed in such a way that on your right side there is a wall. So every day you wake up from the left side in the morning, and now you have changed your bed. Now it's on the left side the wall is. And every chance is there, because of the habit, when you wake up, you will go and clash with the wall. Because every day you have developed the habit of coming out from the bed from the left side. Now you have changed the bed's direction, you will go and clash with the wall. So this speaks of that you are aware of yourself, but that awareness is beyond time, space, causation. So just to give an inkling, it's not a realization, just to give an inkling when we say that amness is something beyond time, space, causation. So that has not bound by something, it's not localized. That's the idea in Vedanta of Brahman, Brih Dhatu, that there is an awareness which is not localized. That's the Brahman, the absolute reality. In our life, it finds expression as Adhyatma. Adhyatma is what? That even if I close my eyes, all the senses. That Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda used to give a very nice example, that what is the difference between an ordinary soul and a realized soul? What is the difference between a Jiva and Ishwara? What's the difference? He used to say the Jiva is a circle which has a center, but whose circumference is nowhere, it's infinite. How? If I close my eyes, all the indriyas, all the senses, and I can think of myself, if I'm just thinking of myself, can I get rid of the idea that I am? I can never get rid of. That amness I'm aware of. But that amness is localized, isn't it? I know I'm sitting somewhere or I'm standing somewhere. It is localized. The world is outside me. I am here. I cannot jump out of myself. As the way in Vedanta, some example they give, the way you cannot run away from your shadow. The same way, as long as I'm in ignorance, I cannot run away from the sense that I am this localized individuality. So this localized individuality, the Vedanta says, is just a reflection of Brahman. To understand it in a very common way, the sun is on the sky. In the ocean, there are innumerable waves. Each wave will be reflecting the sun. One sun is reflected as many. All the innumerable waves are reflecting that one sun. And not only that, the sun is nicely a spherical body. But with the movement of the waves, you will find the reflection is distorted. It may be moving, it may be elliptical, elongated. So all the distortions are happening in the reflection. But the sun is there intact, just the way it is. Nothing is happening to it. But apparently, if I see the reflection, I find there are changes. So similarly, this idea of the individuality, that I am different from you. I have certain traits which you don't have. You have certain traits which I don't have. The Vedanta is saying that it's all the reflection of the Brahman, just the way in the wave they all appear different. Here they appear to be different, but they are not different. So that's why we will find this Adhyatma has been called as Swabhava. When Bhagavan will be explaining these terms after Arjuna asks, because these are the terms which Bhagavan has used in the last two verses of the 7th chapter. The 8th chapter starts with Arjuna's question, what actually these 8 terms mean? And then Bhagavan will be explaining. You will find when he is explaining, he says, this Adhyatma is the Swabhava. This word, Swabhava means what? Even in Indian language we know Swabhava. That my traits, my characteral trait, my behavior is my Swabhava. So this individuality from the Brahman is appearing as individual, and that creates the distinction between you and me. Nowadays I can give another example which you will easily understand. You go to buy a mobile phone in a mobile shop. Same brand mobile, all are same, isn't it? All are same. You cannot distinguish one from the other. I buy one mobile and immediately I put my own password or whatever it is and start uploading my contact details and everything. Immediately your phone becomes different from all others. It is the same thing. It has the same hardware. The moment I take it, I individualize it, it becomes something my own. So this Adhyatma is that. This individuality with its own traits and characters, that's the Adhyatma. Now you will find the beauty of it. So why these things are being discussed, that we will come a bit later to speak of the integral whole of the absolute reality. So this Swabhava, which is being termed as Adhyatma. So that Bhagavan says that I am all the six aspects of reality. The Brahman, I am Adhyatma, this individualized aspect of the reality, that also I am, which gives us the distinction, is the individual aspect. And then he is Adhidaiva. Adhidaiva, what it speaks? That again, this individualized reality is perceiving so many things. It is witnessing so many things. The external world, and then all your feelings, thoughts, emotions. Others don't know. You know what your thoughts, what your emotions. There's someone as the Antaryami. Antaryami means the one sitting beside is observing everything. So in Sanskrit, then why it has been called Adhidaiva? These words are very important. Daiva is generally we always mean Devata, all the celestial beings. But here the word Daiva doesn't mean the celestial beings. The word Daiva means celestial beings. The word Devata means the Indriyas too. Or your eyes, your ears, they are all Devata. Why you know? Because the word Devata came from Div Dhatu. Div. Div means to illumine. To illumine means Div. From that word Div Dhatu, from the which Devata came. To illumine is Devata. So we believe that the celestial beings doesn't have a body of flesh and bones like us. They are illumined beings. They have a subtle existence and their body is illumined. That's why they are called Devata. But again, for in our individual life, it is our senses that illumine the world, isn't it? With the eyes I see, with the ears I hear, the world is being illumined. What's there outside is being illumined by all the senses. And ultimately, whatever I am perceiving through the senses is perceived through the mind. These are all just the point of entry, but it is the mind which conglomerates them to give a sense of whole. And the one who is sitting behind the mind, observing all the thing, the Lord is saying, I am that. So you will the Adhi Daivan. Why this word Adhi means? Adhisthana. That whatever you are seeing, whatever you are perceiving, your thoughts, feelings, emotions, the external world, I am the one who is the Adhisthana. This as the Antaryami, as the inner perceiver of all these things which is going on. So that's Adhidaiva. So first we came Brahman, the sense of individuality, this individual aspect, the Adhidaiva. So this speaks of this mind through which you are perceiving everything. There's the Antaryami. And then Adhiyagya. Bhagavan Krishna is saying, I am myself the Adhiyagya. This Adhiyagya is again very important. That the absolute reality, when finds expression as the universe, you will find here everything is interconnected. It's interbeing. Nothing is just a segregated entity. When Yashoda asked Krishna to open its mouth, because as you know, the babies, the children have the habit of putting everything in their mouth. So Krishna has put some soil, a morsel of soil in his mouth. And as a mother, the mother was trying her best to bring out that soil from her mouth. So the Krishna, in a playful mood, was not throwing out the soil. So the mother pressed the cheeks of Gopala, of Krishna, to see that what he has eaten. And he saw the entire creation. And we feel that it's all mythical stories. How can it be true? Just in a lump of soil to see the entire creation? Yes. If we really have the eyes of Yashoda, we too can see the entire creation in a lump of soil. Just say lump of soil. That how soil is formed. You go to the inner desert, in the deserts, go to the central provinces of Australia. It's all desert, sand and sand. You won't find any soil. Where you find soil? Wherever there is a vegetation. All these living things, when they die, they ferment, and through the process of this fermentation, gradually the soil speaks of life. Without life, there cannot be soil. The living beings has died and decomposed, and then the soil was formed. So if the soil is there must have been a plant, there must have been a tree. If the tree is there must have been the sun, the atmosphere, the air, and all the nutrients which is taking from that tree was again in the soil itself. It's a cycle. And in the soil, all the nutrients were there in the form of minerals. Very interesting. Not a single mineral has been created on this earth. We say we are star dust. So it has been created in the core of some star like sun. Some star it was created, and from there it has been projected. That's how all the minerals we find in earth was actually produced in a star. So we say that we are all star dust. So these minerals, now you will find in a single tree. If you really have the eyes of a Yashoda, you can see the sun, all the planets, all the celestial, all these bodies, the air, the water, everything you can see in that small lump of soil. So that's the idea of interbeing. This anything doesn't remain as a segregated existence. Everything is inter. And not only that, even in this creation, that as a person that I am standing here, that It is not just some materials which has made me. There is something else, some unconditional love. As a small child, I was helpless. I had no capacity even to have my own food. I would have never sustained myself. But the plan of the creation is such. The mother was there with her unconditional love, which has sustained me. We all are the proof of unconditional love. Now again, very interesting. If the mother feels now, the mother thinks that it is I who love the child, there she will be committing the mistake. She will be bound. Some form of expectation will come. I have loved the child doesn't reciprocate it. But if I feel that as a mother I was helpless, I was created in such a way, what to speak of a human being, even in the animals you will find. The mother is ready to give away her life for the children. We have been programmed, that's our genes are altruistic, we have been programmed in such a way that love is something within our heart, as if the Lord has implanted that love in our heart to take care of His own creation. If I can view that way, then what happens? That whenever the creation is there, there is interbeing. This love is also a part of that interbeing. Through that, the creation is sustained. So I am just an instrument in the hand of the Lord. It is not what I am loving. It is the Lord who is channelizing His love through me. The mother is just the channel of God's love. Father is the channel of God's love. When I see a person, a poor person, and I find sympathy is welling up, I shouldn't have that sense of egoistic sense, oh, I am very sympathetic. I have been made by the Lord in such a way that instead of any sense of indifference, that love wells up. I am not the creator of that love. It simply wells up, and that motivates me to do some altruistic work, isn't it? So you will find that all our actions that way can be viewed in a different way. That I am just the channel of the divine plan. His plan of interbeing. This interbeing is called yajna. That the ultimate reality, when he finds expression as this creation, then he finds expression through certain laws. Rhythm. That's in English the word rhythm, this rhythm has came from Sanskrit word rhythm. Rhythm means rhythm, laws. That the creation is not just chaotic. It has found expression through some laws. Yes, in the physical world, the gravitation is there, the magnetic laws are there, which is universal. That's why we can send a rocket to the Mars. Because I know the same gravitation which works here works there too. I can calculate exactly and can have a soft landing on the Mars. Why? Because these laws are universal. When that ultimate reality finds expression, it finds expression as the laws, both physical as well as moral. And we all are bound by that laws. Krishna says, I am sustaining the creation through that yajna. Yajna doesn't mean just that homa you are doing. If you translate it that way, it has no meaning. Yajna means this interbeing, which sustains the entire creation, either in the form of your love, compassion, emotion, or as the physical laws. That's me. Adhi yajna. I am the adhishtatri. I am the adhisthana, the foundation of all this interbeing which you see in this world. So I am the adhi yajna. And karma. Adhibhuta. Adhibhuta means the so-called physical aspect of the reality. That I see this world as a tangible reality. As such, is it tangible reality? No, it is the limitation of the senses. As even in the last class we were hinting. Just if you take a small atom by which this table is made, if you really try to find out what its nature, it's all space. There's a nucleus and the electrons are moving around it. We have studied in the preliminary, our science. But they will say that what's the distance between the nucleus and the electrons which are revolving? They say you just try to expand the atom. Let I think that an atom is as big as a football ground. Then what I will find? The size of the nucleus of the atom is just the size of the football placed in the center of the ground. And the nucleus are moving around the stadium. And the entire place is empty. So if that's the reality, that's the truth. When science will say that's the truth. then why I see everything as so solid? In a very simple way, we can understand it is nothing but the limitation of our senses. Our senses have certain limitation. That if the fan is not revolving, you can see all the blades separately, isn't it? The moment you on it, you cannot see the blades. You just see it as a disc. Why it happens? Because of the retention capacity of the eye. The eye retains what it perceives now. It retains for some time the thing which you have perceived now, and within that time, if some other object comes, they overlap. As in the school, we used to do a project. In a paper, in one side we used to draw a cage, on the other side we used to draw a bird, and then we will try with a stick, we will just revolve that page in such a way that the cage is in front of my eyes now, and the next moment the bird is there. And you will invariably see the bird in the cage. That's why that the moment I'm seeing the cage, the eye retains that cage for some time, and within that time the bird is coming. So these two just coalesces together to give me a feeling that the bird is inside the cage. So whatever we are seeing in a TV screen is all this thing. It's actually in innumerable still pictures move very fast to give you the idea of motion. So this limitation of the senses gives us a sense of everything as solid. And it's actually the field interacting. When I find that my hand is not entering through the table, it's actually two fields are interacting, nothing solid. So we can have an inkling, even with the help of science, to understand that what I'm seeing as the physical aspect, that also is the absolute reality because of our limitations of the perception. We see it as something, a tangible, solid, inert whole. It's actually not so. So this physical aspect is also me, adhibhuta, and karma, the process by which that from the ultimate, from that absolute reality, the creation has came out. The entire process of creation. That karma, the dynamic aspect, that also is me. These things can be elaborated in so many ways. So then you will find this six aspects speaks of the entire reality which we are perceiving at present. This Brahma, Adhyatma, Adhidaiva, Adhiyagya, Adhibhuta, Karma. And the Bhagavan has indicated that one who sees me in all these aspects alone can think of me even at the time of death. Why it's been spoken of? See, now if I have started my spiritual journey with the idea that I will meditate on the Lord with my closed eyes, that meditation will be partial. It cannot become habitual. Only for some time I am doing it. But if I see the Lord as the entire, in its entirety, then even when I am not meditating, I am actually constantly practicing the presence of the divine in each and every moment of our life. It's there in every tradition. If you are from Christian tradition, there's a wonderful book which we also study, The Practice of the Presence of the Divine, written many years. It was in the 15th or the 16th century. A small book, a compilation of letters. So there you will find that I'm forgetting his name, the one actually who is writing the letters. He was an illumined soul. He was a monk. He used to be in the army short term. He was in army, and then when he retired, he didn't have any formal education. So he became a monk. So in the monastery, a lot of works are there. As he had no education, he was asked to just clean the vessels, all these so-called menial jobs he used to do. And then in his much advanced age, he was highly revered. With all the small works he was doing, he has went to a state of realization that when you are washing the utensils, feel the presence of the divine. You are doing it for God. Don't just think it's a menial job. The same idea even in Buddhist, in the idea of to be present in each and every moment. The same thing. That don't get distracted by the happenings of life. Be in the moment. Have practiced the presence of the divine in each and every act of your life. that the mother, when is have to take care of the child, just as you will find in the Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna is saying that a widow came and told that see, I have as such nothing to be bound with, as my husband has died, I have no children, but now I am upbringing my nephew, and I find that I am extremely attached to my nephew, the small child. Even when I am trying to meditate, his thought comes. His thought has become a distraction from me. So Sri Ramakrishna is giving a wonderful advice to that lady. That don't try to get rid of that thought. It's very good that in the form of love it is coming. Only think that that child is not just an ordinary child. The child is actually the baby Krishna, Gopala. And then you do whatever you are doing. And then we find that that lady is growing in devotion gradually. So it's just a way you change your orientation. So that's the idea, that unless you can relate with the divinity in all the aspects throughout your life, it is impossible to develop that habitual contemplation. And unless anything becomes habitual, it is impossible to have that thought at the time of death. The thought which you are going to have at the time of death is not something which depends on your will. Just the way, do your dream depends on your will? What you are going to dream? Are you going to decide what you are going to dream? No. That it comes by itself. How it comes? To a certain extent, even the psychology will say that your temperament, your bent of mind, the way you are leading the life, all the things consciously you think, they subconsciously will coalesce to form your dream. Your dream world has some relation with your existing world, but at the same time, it is not that you decide what you are going to dream. They will automatically form your dream, isn't it? The similar thing happens at the time of death. However, you may think that, oh, let me lead my life as I want at the time of death, and that's when I will think of God. It will never happen. It will never happen. What I am doing consciously throughout my life and what becomes habitual through my conscious acts, that just like the way of the dream, that will come as a visualization at the time of death. I've seen even here, someone was relating that when someone says, I used to go to my father every day in the aged care center where he was, and just before his death, he started just as if speaking to all those who have passed away before him. He was speaking, he was as if visualizing them and speaking. To us, it may appear as hallucination, but it do happen. The one with whom you have spent your life, your wife, children and others, so they have become your habitual way of thinking, and they come as a strong visualization. It's not that just a thought. You really see them. It becomes a visualization. So these thoughts are very important. Unless I have made the thought of the divine as a habitual thing, it can never as such come at the time of death. And our scripture says a very important thing. At the time of death, what you think, that decides your destiny, the next course of action. Sometimes jokingly we give that example. Suppose you are watching a TV. In a particular channel, you are watching the TV and you close the TV in that channel. When you open the TV again, it will open in that channel, isn't it? Or you are watching the TV and it has broken. The picture tube has collapsed. You go to the marketplace, buy a new TV, and you open. The moment you on the channel, in the same channel, again the same picture will come. So sometimes they say that there is no soul. If the soul is there with all modern advanced technology, I could have detected it. Something going out of the body. So we have a very, very wrong way of understanding it. It's not something that, as we told, the self is non-local. It is something like transmission. Can you just, by any machine, just see the transmission? No. Only when you keep another TV, keep it, and the transmission which is already there, that is tuned, it comes. So that way, from one body to the other body, the soul is being transmitted. It's not that something really physical is going from one thing to the other. So what is being transmitted? The thing which you were thinking throughout your life. You have created your own channel. that's being transmitted again to the new body. So this our last thought determines our destiny. And that last thought is again dependent on the way we have led our life. What was prime in one mind and what has become habitual. So this is the thing you'll find very interesting. So Bhagavan is just, instead of saying contemplate on me, first he is explaining what he is. That don't think I am just that Brahman sitting there up in the cloud. I am the entire creation. Then what happens? Then if this idea dawns in my mind that he is the entire creation in each and every act of life, whatever I am doing, I am actually interacting with the divine. And if I think it consciously and do it, then this God, because this idea of divinity becomes something, a conscious, a habitual state of my existence. It becomes because I'm constantly thinking of it. And then only it is possible that at the time of death, just like the dream, everything related to the divine, that will come in my mind. You'll find this wonderful thing. In the life of Ramakrishna, so many stories are there. I will just say one story, that that one Rashik, he was a sweeper. He was a sweeper. He saw so many people coming to Ramakrishna. He knew nothing of the scriptures. He was an illiterate person. But seeing all the well-known person, renowned person coming to Ramakrishna, he had a notion. He developed an idea. He must be a very great person. Otherwise, why all these great notable persons of Bengal in those days are visiting him? So, but at the same time, he felt that how can I go and meet him? He's always surrounded with these devotees, with all these notable persons. So one day he made a plan. Ramakrishna from the Ganges, he was sitting on the bank of the Ganges. He liked the Ganges very much. Whenever he had time, he will go and sit on the bank of the Ganges. And from there, he was returning to his room, and this Rasik, the sweeper, he was hiding himself just behind a bush. And as Ramakrishna was crossing that street, he simply fell flat on his feet and told, "You have to deliver me." And Ramakrishna had a wonderful smile in his face, and he told two things. "You're extremely clever." And extremely clever. And another thing he told, that dhore feleche, he have somehow understood me. So that the sense of that surrender is very important in spiritual life. Once you can surrender yourself and say, "Oh Lord, please deliver me. I don't have the capacity. It is you who have to deliver me." That deliverance is something which always gives you the sense of that dependence on the divine in each and every state of your life. A small child, what it only does, it's only dependent on the mother, as it can do nothing constantly. That's the thing. He knows that someone is there to help him out. In our life, if we have that sensation, that someone is there in each and every step of my life, someone is there who is holding me, he is helping me out. It may appear to be I am going through the struggles, but he knows best. He is taking me through all this. He is holding me. He has never left me. That can be the cause of the deliverance. And Ramakrishna, that's why he's saying you are extremely clever. You know nothing of the scriptures. No philosophy. You don't have that subtle understanding, but somehow you have understood that I can deliver you. This faith will deliver you. That's the thing which was what Sri Ramakrishna meant, and it really happened. It's very interesting that these Rasiks, these sweepers, that his house has become a center of Sharda Math now. So that's the different thing, that when he was dying, and he was in his deathbed, he has just a normal life. Outwardly, what's going on within your mind, no one knows. Outwardly, you may be doing all the things, but inwardly, you have totally changed, transformed. That's what most probably the life of Rasik Mathur was. He was just an ordinary sweeper. And in his deathbed, he had no strength to get up. He was totally bedridden. Just before his death, suddenly he got up from his bed. And he sat straight, upright, called his wife. "Don't you see? Ramakrishna has come. Give him a chair." And his wife couldn't see because Ramakrishna has passed away many years before. "Give him a chair, bring some water." He was fully excited. And that's how that he tried to, and then again he felt tired, he just fell back to his bed, and then peacefully he passed away. So that's the idea, why we have just been saying this incident, that what becomes the habitual way of thinking, that even you don't have the control, it comes as that thought, and that thought is so intense, it decides your destiny. That carries you to the destiny. So now you will understand that why these terms appears to be technical, but why Bhagavan says that I am Brahman, I am Adhyatma, I am Adhidaiva, I am Adhiyagya, I am Adhibhuta, I am Karma. So that through all these aspects of the reality, which you see as this world, I am as the Adhisthana. That's why this Adhi, in Bhagavad Gita, this Adhi prefixes are very important. It changes the meaning of the word. He's not saying I am Bhuta, I am Yagya. Adhi, I am the Adhisthana. I am the one who is the foundation of all this thing. So see me through all this thing. Don't seek God. See Him. So this is the idea, that through this, if I can pass my life, that it is not only in my contemplation, through each and every action, I am trying to spiritualize my life. As Swamiji used to say, nothing is secular, everything is spiritual. The idea of secularism is something that his words were wonderful, that I worship that God whom the ignorant calls man. It's the same idea. I worship that God whom the ignorant calls. Because of my ignorance, I am thinking you as A, B, C, D, but it's a God and God alone who has become everything. So if that idea is behind there, then your worship becomes 24/7. Your entire life becomes a communion with the divine, a worship of the divine. And then this thought can become habitual. And then only it can be the thought at the time of your death. It will come spontaneously. And that will again deliver you. So now, this is the introduction we gave. In the next class, what we will do, from the 1st to the 8th verse of the Bhagavad Gita, we will read. And just try to connect with the idea, with the discussion which we had today. And you will find how nicely Bhagavan, first describing these various aspects of his reality, and then he is saying, worship me. At the beginning he would have told that worship me. Why he hadn't told that? He knew that we will make that same mistake. I will try to run away from the world and just think that I will worship him, just as the way I believe him to be, something extraterrestrial. And that way my worship cannot be an uninterrupted worship, because the world is there always to distract me. How much I can spend the time only in worship? I have to come back to this world. So when you are coming back, relate to this world as the divine. Then only the thought of the divine can become something habitual. With one story, when MacLeod, it's a devotee of Swami Vivekananda. She used to consider herself as a friend of Swami Vivekananda, Sakha. You know that you can have this attitude, various attitude. You need not have to think the Lord as a master. You can think as a friend, you can think as your child. So she had the idea that Swamiji is my friend. She used to say a very interesting thing, that throughout my life I was in search of great men. I haven't found anyone greater than Swamiji. That's why still I love him. Otherwise I would have just stopped loving him. I couldn't find him. And now Swami Vivekananda gave him some instructions for his meditation. Now Swami Vivekananda passed away. And after that she came to India and she went to Holy Mother. That's the Holy Mother, simple lady. And to her, this MacLeod went and told, I cannot meditate. Well, why? You are a disciple of Swami Vivekananda, you cannot meditate? Swamiji wouldn't have initiated you if he knew that you don't have this capacity. You are an adhikari. You have to have that capacity. How can you not? Then he told, my problem is that whenever I try to sit for meditation, it is he who comes to my meditation. I can never think of anything else. It is he who comes to my meditation. And then Holy Mother told, you are so fortunate. You just ask others. They try their best to bring that image in their mind. They cannot bring. And it comes spontaneously to you. You are so fortunate. Only thing you should remember, he is one of the rishis among the Saptarshis. He is not an ordinary being. He is a highly exalted divine thing. Attach the divinity to that, what it comes. That's what is required. Don't try to remove that. And your work is done. So that's the idea. It's such a simple, wise wisdom for words he told. They just, you are so fortunate that his form, the thought, his form comes in your visualization spontaneously. Just be aware that he is not just a person of flesh and bones. He is the divine who has manifested in this form. And your work is done. Nothing you have to do. And that's what Bhagavan is doing in the very beginning of this 8th chapter. So these terms appears as technical, but they give a very all-comprehensive philosophy. And that makes the Bhagavad Gita such a wonderful scripture, that you need not have to run away from life. You can be interacting with the life. Others may think you're wholly engrossed in it, but from the bottom of your heart you know you are constantly contemplating on the divine alone. Just as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, it's like a maid servant. She has most probably working in the house of a landlord. She has left his hearth and home and doing the work of the household work of the landlord. But in her mind, constantly the thought of this, her home is there. So it's the same way we have to act in this world. We are engrossed in this world of action. But in the mind, the Lord should be there. And that's possible if I can see the Lord in each and every particle of the existence. As if you go to Kashi, there's a very common a proverb which everyone will be saying, that in Kashi, Har Kankar hai Bhole Shankar. Each and every particle of dust, each and every particle of stone is nothing but the Lord Shiva alone. Har Kankar mein hai Bhole Shankar. What a wonderful idea. So deify the world. Don't see the world just as the world. As the Lord it is true. It is not true as the world. Jagat Ishwar Rupa Shuddha. So that's what even Shankaracharya, we blame him as Advaita Vedanti. But if you take his entire, that he is saying that Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, he's saying. But the next line we never say. Jiva Brahmaiva Napar. That is very important. The Jiva is Brahma. That when he is saying Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, we say, Jagat Mithya he is saying. But what about the next line? Jiva is not just Mithya, it is Brahman. As Brahman it is true. Jiva Brahmaiva Na Apara. It is nothing else but the God and God alone. If you take that, again in Advaita also you can get a wholesome philosophy. So how you are looking at it. So that gives the wholesome idea, and that gives you the scope for relating the entire life with spirituality without making it just a part-time affair. So with this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar. So in the next class, we will go through the 8 verses just to relate to these ideas. For the last 2 classes, we were trying to understand that how it is related to the next 8 verses that we will take up in the next class. So with this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.
Thank you, Swami. Next class.
Oh, next class. In the next week, I am not here. I'm just going, will be having some interstate visit, going to Sydney. So the next class will be the following Sunday. Oh, the next Sunday is 11th. Is Buddha Purnima? No. Oh, so for consecutive 2 weeks it won't be there. So next class will be on 18th most probably. On 18th. But you're all invited for attending the Buddha Purnima in the huge still this our community center. We are having the Buddha Purnima. On that day we are having a retreat on meditation. So you are all welcome. You please register. If you are not, if you don't have the link, please provide your email ID. I can send you the link, or your phone number. I can send you the link through message, and you can register and you can attend the satsang there on 11th of May. That will be on meditation. It's a Buddha Purnima we are celebrating. So there will be 2 sessions. The first session is the mindfulness, the Buddha way. And the second is beyond mindfulness. That even in Buddhism you will find that the 8 paths he is speaking, the 7th is mindfulness, right mindfulness. But all throughout the world now everyone speaks of mindfulness. But after that he is speaking of right meditation. So that's the very important thing that many doesn't speak of. Because mindfulness has a therapeutic effect. It helps to relax. But that's not all. That meditation helps us to evolve spiritually in a much more deeper sense. So that's the beyond mindfulness. That will be the second session. So these 2 sessions we will be having discussion on the 11th of May. So you're all welcome to attend that. It's not here. So sometimes people by mistake come here. So it is in the Huge Still Community Center. So I will provide you with the link. If you haven't got, you can register and come over there to attend the program. Thank you all.